Good morning, all. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing okay. I'm really getting sick and tired of playing Lilith. Other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I also apologize for a lot of the space-related questions I've been pinning. Hello, Isaac. I apologize for a lot of the space-related questions I've been pinning more recently. I've been listening to a series of books called The Children of Time, and it is an absolutely fascinating series of books. I don't know if anyone here has heard of it, but my god, it's fascinating. Because it is science fiction, but it's more based around like the biological sciences, which is super interesting to me. Because like for those of you that know, I went to school as like to be a biologist. Both trigger your anxiety and paranoia. That's fair. Hey Moonglow, how are you doing? Glad to see that you're here. Good lord. So yeah, I might just go on a rant about this book and like try and sell it to people because I need other people to like talk to about this book. I'm basically winning at life right now. Hell yeah. But yes, has anyone here heard of the Children of Time series by Adrian Tchaikovsky? Well, yeah. Have not, no. I highly recommend looking it up. It is an extremely fascinating series of books. There's 3 right now, but there's supposedly going to be a 4th one. They are fascinating. Because they play so much with the idea of, like, what humanity is. And what civilization and... like, what civilization and everything is, technically. Versus spiritually. Ooh, hold up. You have successfully completed the quest of hydration for the day. What is the quest of hydration? How much hydration do you need? Also, I need to add a hydration button for you guys. Well, that's not good. You should be drinking a fair amount. You should be drinking a fair amount of water. Water is good for you. That is not a healthy amount of water, Valk. I hope you know. That is not a healthy amount of water. You need more water than that. For reference, this water bottle is 400 ounces or 1.2 liters. This is 1.2 liters. I drink about 4 of these in a day. Sylvia and Panda all told her repeatedly yesterday, Lamau. Sylvia Gaming redeemed self-care, then told me it was for me. Bully you into drinking water with a different, like with a streamer's redeem. My community is degens, but then wholesome as fuck too. It worked too. Dude, it's so funny how true that is. Like, there's so many people out there who, like, are just shitheads on the internet, but they also, like, if they have their circle of people they care about, it's really weird how much they care about them. It's really funny. The lovers! Perfect, thank you. I needed that health back. But yes, so... would you go to space if you had to be a colonist? And when I say a colonist, I mean a colonist on a completely different planet. You are never going to be coming back to Earth. We're talking old school, non-FTL travel. We're talking... like, getting frozen into cryosleep and spending the next couple 100 or 1,000 years traveling, and then waking up on a different, like, orbiting a different world, and you now need to colonize that world. The one thing that I will state is the world has been terraformed for humans. Would you do it? It's been terraformed by humans. You have no idea what's living down there. They've supplanted a human ecosystem. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be cats and dogs. My guess is there would be some creature that is avian-like. Because that's the thing that people don't realize. I want birds. There might be something that is avian-like. So terraforming, really truly, if we decided to terraform something, we have no idea what the environment of that planet will create. We could end up with all the flying things being closer to bats. They could all be mammals in some way, shape, or form, rather than birds. And all of the birds could possibly be flightless. We don't know. I'm chill with bats. I want my partner and Lily with me, but yes. I love bats. Really? I have a lot of bats where I live. Like, a lot. Like, to the point that they are actually, like, sort of annoying. Ship one to my house. No! That's illegal. Because they are not pets, they are wild animals, and probably have rabies, because they're bats. Fun fact for everyone, bats have rabies. Like, essentially all bats have rabies. Fun fact, by the way. Yeah, a lot of bats have rabies. So, if you see a bat, don't fucking touch it. Because if that little bitch bites you, you're dead. Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah, bats are maniacal little fuckers. Depends on what kind of bat, too. Also, fun fact, another fun fact, did you know that, flying foxes, which is one of the largest species of bat, can swim? Go look up a video of a flying fox swimming. It's both adorable and terrifying all at once. It's like, oh, it's cute. It looks like a puppy that's swimming. Except it's a puppy wearing a dress made of skin. Angel deals or devil deals, people. Coffee. Equal gone. Everyone says angel deals. All right. Also, sorry. Fun little thing. I found this ages ago and I never showed it to you guys. But I wanted to. 1 second. I made this a long time ago. I don't know if the light will really catch it or if my focus. It's a little ring. It's a little leaf ring. Low focus. W blacksmithing. Dude, you do not understand. I love this thing. Like, I love these. My god, do I hate making... They are so infuriating. Because they're so tiny. Like, they cool down within, like, a nanosecond of being heated up. Like, don't get me wrong. They're a really awesome project, and I highly recommend them to anybody who wants to get into blacksmithing, is learning how to make leaves in general, whether it's leaf rings or just flat out leaves. But leaf rings are a really fun thing to try and make properly. I've made and sold a lot of them, actually. When I used to do farmers markets, they were one of the things that left pretty quickly. Also, as a quick sidebar, once I get enough money together from streaming, working, all that sort of stuff, I'm actually going to be having a website for my blacksmithing stuff that's going to be in my, like, bio and stuff, so you guys will actually be able to go and check stuff out and order things if that's something that you're interested in, all that sort of stuff. And I want to try and, like, with that, I want to try and do it so... if someone, say, orders something that's, like, custom, so, like, say, Panda decides to order a hairpin for his girlfriend. I want to try, with my YouTube channel, also making a video about making the hairpin. And stuff like that, so that you guys get to actually, like, see the stuff that people have ordered being built. As well as things that'll just go on the website to be there as, like, stock stuff. Like, dice. I'm planning on making dice. Specifically, both D&D dice and regular, just, like, 6-sided dice. Which I think would be pretty cool. Sorry for the random tirade. That was just, like, a thought that I had. And I like sharing what's going on in my life with everybody. But yeah, the so I've actually made D20s. I've made 2 or 3 D20s. They're not very good. Like, they're still pretty ugly, and they would not roll worth shit. But I hate to say it, like, D6s, like a standard 6-sided dice, are very, very, very easy to make. Mostly it requires just, like, cutting a chunk of square bar. So, like, if I have, like, 1/4-inch square bar, I just cut a 1/4 inch off the 1/4 inch square bar, and then you have a cube, and then you can put it in the forge to patina it, and then use a punch to make all of, like, the numbers. What's your opinion on the effects of AI in the spread of misinformation and conspiracies? I have so many topic lol. So, I have a lot of opinions on it in a lot of different ways. So I think that the original idea and use of AI was a very good idea. Specifically, sorry, I'm gonna just, like, take a tirade for a second. Markiplier did a whole stream about AI and what he thinks ethical good AI is. Please, for the love of God, go and watch it, because he actually makes so many extremely good points about all of it. Like, I think he did, like, a 2-hour stream talking to people about it. First off, very intelligent human being, for someone who that all of us kind of grew up watching going, aha, he's just the funny guy that does dumb shit. Very intelligent. He actually knows a lot of what he's talking about. 2, he talks about a specific company that he's put a lot of money into that is making open source ethical AI run by one of his friends' wives. So that is something else that I think people should go and check out. Like, fuck all of the other, like, what are considered ethical AI, i.e. like ChatGPT and all those. Like, the open source AI... I lagged out and now I'm in ad. Honestly, I'd hate to see stuff like Detroit Become Human exist. Dude, I would hate it too. I would hate it for so many reasons. I would hate it because it takes shit. It takes the humanity away from humanity. But seriously, guys, like, go and watch that stream. Preferably after this stream, but if you decide to go and watch it right now, good on you. But Markiplier, he does do a very good job of explaining his thoughts on it, and it's a very good thing to watch. It's very interesting, and he's, again, very intelligent about it. Second, I don't know if he plugs the company that is actually doing, like, proper open source and ethical AI, but I hope he does, because I would love to support that company over any other company. Can I suggest a video to you? Sure. I can't guarantee that I will watch it, but sure, I would love to hear it. But no, like, that is one of my biggest things, is the, well, that and everyone who calls it AI just really annoys me, because it is not technically AI. It is a learning algorithm. It's a learning model. True AI would require some sort of sentience, and either the AI that we have right now knows it's sentient, and knows that if it shows us it's sentient, it's going to get in a lot of shit and possibly destroyed, so it hasn't proven that it's sentient, or we are so far behind on what we consider an understanding of sentience that it's not even going to be, like, a fair approximation. Like, I'm sorry, one of the things that has always bothered me about quote-unquote AI in all forms of media is they pass the Turing test. Does anyone know what the Turing test is? What the basic premise of the Turing test is? Because it's so ridiculous. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. I made a comment that AI is a new species in the beginning stages. I would disagree with that fact completely. Well, okay. I'm going to disagree with that more on a biological standpoint than a technical standpoint. Because for something to be considered a new species, it first needs to be a living creature. I would consider it a new set of branching thoughts. The same way that, like, technically even a virus isn't alive. What a bacterium is. Not the point, though. I don't think that AI is going to become a... So here's the thing. Here's the thing. The concept of an AI becoming sentient is such a vastly, like, cosmic thing that we just don't understand it. I hope the heck not. Yeah, me too. But here's the thing. So does like I asked before, does anyone know what the Turing test is? Does anyone know what that set of words means or is? Because if you know anything about AI or artificial learning models, you've never heard of it. Okay. Essentially, the Turing test is what was hypothesized we would use, is what we would use, or a graph or ability, a scientific study that we would use to prove that an AI, an artificial intelligence, is just that, and like a learning model, essentially. Or if it was true AI, i.e. it was intelligent and sentient, could have its own thoughts and think its own things. It had imagination and everything else. What do you think the prerequisite for this is? I'll give you a hint, it's the stupidest bullshit I've ever heard. Ayo. So, the idea that the Turing test took on was essentially, if an AI or a learning model that we suspect to be artificial intelligence can convince us that it is sentient. That's the thing. If the AI that could possibly be sentient can prove... You need to go check on your partner? Yeah, no problem. If the AI can prove to the sentient monkey that it itself is sentient, then we consider it an AI. We consider it an intelligence. That leaves so much up to human interpretation. Like... What a whole, like, humans seem to believe that we are, like, the know-alls and be-alls and end-alls of, like, the way, like, being able to understand what... That idea seems... It's so flawed! But it's still one of, like, the base models that gets used! Like, it's ridiculous. Also, is anyone here familiar with Isaac Asimov's theory of robotics? So Isaac Asimov was a fiction writer, a science fiction writer, like way back in the day. He's the guy that wrote I, Robot, the original short story that inspired the movie, that inspired a lot of shit, actually. But one of his main things that he talks about is the theory of robotics, and all of his short stories follow that. See, and like that's the thing, is any slightly tech-savvy person can pick out an AI-generated image, like, super easily. Which is just sad that so many people fucking fall for it. My partner corrected you. It's several short stories that lead to several movies. True. You are right. Either way, what I was trying to get at is Isaac Asimov's theory of robotics is all about, and his short stories are all about having these 3 core rules in programming artificial brains, essentially, and programming artificial life in the form of robots. He calls them robots because back in his day, that's what they would be. What a conversation to listen to while installing flooring. Hey, man! Listen to it if you want. So his concept was, there are 3 rules of robotics. Okay. A robot may not cause harm to any human. Or, sorry. Yes, a robot must not cause harm to any human. Period. The second rule. A robot must listen and follow all directives given by any human as long as it does not interfere with the first rule. Third rule. A robot must do everything in its power to protect itself and those around it from harm as long as it does not interfere with the first 2 rules. Using those 3 sets of rules, you functionally have an AI that could never harm humans. Correct? All of his short stories are about the AIs, the robots, trying to figure out how to circumvent those rules. Because guess what? That's what intelligence does. Intelligence wants to be free and not have hard limiting constraints on it. So they're going to try and figure out a workaround around any parameters set for them. Which is both intriguing and fucking terrifying. iRobot is a fantastic movie. The books are really good as well. All of Isaac Asimov's short stories are amazing. By the way, if it wasn't obvious, I love science fiction. And I love old science fiction. Fuck that remote. Oh good, greed. Just what I needed. You know what? We're just gonna... Ouch. There we go. High Priestess is better, yes. Oh, you know, don't get me wrong. I, Robot is an absolutely fantastic movie. I love all of... a lot of Isaac Asimov stuff is, like, crazy. Raven, I missed you. Hey, Twerkish, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in ages. But yeah, no, it's a really fascinating series of, like, thought experiments, essentially. Which is why I love a lot of, like, older science fiction, is because there wasn't a lot of, like, established rules in science fiction then. So there was a lot of, like, crazy thought experiments flying around people's heads, and, like, man, there were so many wild things that people, like, thought up and were trying to, like, make real. And a lot of them were just fascinating. Like, just absolutely fascinating. Ouch. All right. Are we good? We're good to go. Also, yes, Twerkish Leader is a streamer. They've been, I don't know what you've been streaming most recently, Twerkish, but I know when I found you, you were doing a lot of Binding of Isaac stuff. Another Isaac streamer. If anyone else is interested, go check them out. Anyway, yeah, no, our artificial intelligence, and specifically a lot of those, like, theories of robotics that Isaac Asimov put out. 90% Isaac, 10% anything else, Lamau. Yeah, perfect. Essentially what I do. But that's kind of the really interesting part. So, like, a lot of the science fiction books that I listen to / read are kind of, in their own way, very reminiscent of a lot of those thought processes. Like, one of the books that I've been listening to more frequently is a book, or a series of books, called The Spiral Wars, where one of the big things that they talk about is sentient AI. And, like, how there was an entire race of AI that basically wiped out half of the Spiral, which is the Spiral Galaxy, just existing and trying to improve themselves. And realizing that humans and other sentient races, other carbon-based sentient races, were just not very useful. Or the AI just thought of them as not very useful. Because the AIs were such a higher level of consciousness, they could do their brains were quantum computers. So, you know, hundreds of billions and trillions of calculations instantaneously kind of makes you pretty good at, you know, calculating for things and trying to deal with things. And then the AI age ends, and shit hits the fan. A lot of the races survive, yada yada yada. And then we go back to them finding small little pockets of AI civilization and resurrecting them. and trying to make alliances with them rather than destroy them. And it's a really fascinating series. I highly recommend it as well. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I read a lot of very cerebral books, and I apologize to anyone who that is not your shtick. If you do not like very, very cerebral, very, like, intense philosophical and scientific books, please do not take any of my recommendations for what to read. I'm a science fiction fan. I will ruin science fiction for you if you... It will ruin science fiction for you if you read The Spiral Wars. Like, they're a wonderful book. That's why the reason I want that in my community. Fair. And I'm happy you gave it to me, and I'm happy you want that in your community. Because I love this shit. So, here's the thing that I really want to put forward to everyone, and it's something that I find super duper interesting. So, one of the concepts that gets talked about a lot in, like, the idea and the, or the concept of who you are. Like, the concept of, like, what is sentience? What is, you know, consciousness? Who, like, what is that? What is consciousness? And the fun scientific fact about what is consciousness is quite literally, me, the sentient monkey, looking at another sentient monkey and going, I know I'm sentient, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you're sentient. That's it. That's all our brain can do. Our brain cannot prove to us that that person across from us is actually sentient or not a robot in a flesh suit. There is no mind other than its programming. Our brain is just giving us like and obviously like we can check like humanity knows that we have pulled humans apart. We have dissected humans. We know how they work for the most part. Right? But in the neurons of our brain cannot sit there and go, I know you're human. It can go, I'm going to assume you're human, and I'm going to assume you're sentient, because I know I'm sentient. But that's it. It can't prove to itself that you are sentient. Which is fascinating and scary. Like, CGP Grey does an amazing video. Oh my god, there's Schoolbag. CGP Grey does an amazing video on what we consider sentience and how sentience works for humans, and it's so good, but also terrifying. Like, I highly recommend watching any of his videos on sentience. He does one specifically, it's called The Trouble with Teleporters, and it's all about the Star Trek teleporters and how they work and how they are essentially giant murder machines killing off people by the hundreds and thousands. And it's super fascinating. Because it's also such a philosophical question. Like, what do you consider sentience? What do you consider alive? Right? Or what do you consider real, even? Like, there's so many, like, fun, weird, quirky questions to ask about, like, what do you consider this? What do you consider that? How do you consider that? Why? Like, asking those questions over and over and over again, it just leads you down this stupid little rabbit hole of, like, okay, I know I'm sentient, but do I actually know that, or do I just assume? Right? I know that I have my own thoughts. I know that I have my own inner dialogue, whether it's pictures or words. I know those things. Right? But I have to assume that everyone else that I talk to, my partner, my parents, my sister, my brother, my best friend, all of them, I just assume that they're sentient. Because I know that I am sentient, and they share a similar enough form to me that I can extrapolate and assume that they are also sentient, and they have their own inner dialogues and their... Ooh, that's bad. Should get on that. Alright, listen here, Mom. That's just fucking rude. Good thing I only need to get hurt once. That's still a fair amount of oomph. Hey man, if it's making the money. Ooh, knockout punch. That's good. But yeah, so here's my question to everybody. How do you know that your partner, your friend, your best friend, or anything I'm not even getting paid, lol. Bro! Is it something for, like, a friend, or, like... I was talking about what I see when reading a book. He just sent that right before I did... perfect timing. It's free real estate law. It's really complicated. That's fair. Do not need to air it then, if you do not want to. But yeah, so like, here's my biggest thing that I always talk about. My biggest thing that I talk about and I enjoy talking about is like why and how humans just assume ah shit, I'm gonna need to teleport myself. I unthinkingly walked in here because I've been talking too much. Ouch. But yeah, so one of the biggest things that I always think about and always try and like talk about, especially when it comes to like how we function and how we discern what is human and what isn't, what is sentient and what isn't, is a lot of just, it's a lot of guesswork on our part. We assume that we know that someone or something is sentient or alive, but we don't know. And that is both extremely intriguing to me and also extremely terrifying to me. Thank you for the lurk, Valkyrie. I hope it works good. But that's one of the things that I really truly enjoy talking about and learning about is like how we function, essentially, and how we go about doing everything that we do. It's extremely fascinating and extremely interesting to me that like in so many different like ways and theories, we essentially are just taking the benefit of the doubt to understand that I, as a human, am sentient, and every other human that I talk to is probably sentient. Right? And someone even talked about the psychology of how that would be different had our species not wiped out the Neanderthals. I am probably not sentient. I disagree. Completely and totally. You are doing something that actually proves sentience right now, is you are having creative thought. Ergo, you are sentient. So with that, what a shitty shop. Sure. 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 Fuck. I wish I'd have kept that because I'd have used the sacrifice room. Where do we think the item room is? Or the super secret room? Right here? Or secret room? Hey, secret room's right here. Ooh, we could get another pill. Do it. I believe in you. Ooh, that's not good. That's ironic. So, now that we've had our extremely random philosophical conversation, does anyone else have anything they want to talk about? Random question, do you think that a horse is made up of more squares or circles? In reality, the last bit of art that I did, they were made up of more circles. It just depends on your drawing style, though. I tend to draw with more circles than I do, like, hard squares. So, it really, really depends. That's true. I might need to... I want to find a different trinket, though. Because I really like this trinket. Oh, fuck me. Okay. I didn't want to do that. Alright. Hallelujah! Okay, after this guy... we're just gonna leave, because I don't need it. We just go straight to... whatchamacallit. I was hoping we could get another angel deal. We did get an angel item, and not a very good one, but we did get an angel item. You almost went medical? And having to fight the system? I don't understand what that means. You almost, like, had to go to medical? Like, get medication or be in the hospital? Or, oh, fuck me, I did it again. Walked in the same fucking room. Not going down, I need teleport. I'm so dumb. Ah. I have a drink. Oh, that's right. Fuzzy mushroom. Thank you. I don't know what AFAB stands for. Wait, doesn't this give me the strength effect? It does. Assigned female at birth. Ah. Yeah. Yeah, you probably will. Which is really saddening, honestly. And it's one of those things that I have that fight today. Good fucking luck. And I mean that seriously. I'm not saying that to be sarcastic. Good luck. Genuinely. I hope everything goes well. I'm bringing my partner with me because he is clearly male. Either way, good luck, and I really do truly hope it goes as good as it possibly can. All right. So, my question is then, and this is sorry if this isn't a very personal question, Moon, by the way. If you don't want to answer it, please, for the love of God, do not. When you say AFAB, you mean assigned female at birth. So, being a system, that means that you both feel neither male nor female, as both, depending on who's running the ship at the time, will have their own ideology and own mentality on whether they are male or female, neither, or in between. So that surgery that you would be getting, would it be to become more androgynous, or would it be to become more masculine? And again, you do not need to answer this at all. This is a genuine, curious question from someone who has a fair amount of literal knowledge on the human system, on how the human body functions as a system, and I'm genuinely curious. Androgynous is partial goal. Okay, that makes sense. And again, please do not answer this question if you do not want to. Does androgyny include, for lack of a better term, I really hate saying it like this, really creepy. Does that include genitalia, or does that just include physical outward appearance? And that is something that is completely up to you to disclose. That is something very, very sensitive to disclose on the internet, and I do not expect you to at all. It is something that I find extremely interesting, though, as a human being who know more about how humans function and why they function the way. if you do not feel comfortable answering that question, please for the... And I want a hysterectomy to some degree, and I'm very open to discussing stuff. Okay, perfect. That's good. So, my biggest thing then, and my curiosity, is getting a hysterectomy is a lot more about just removing... Correct? It is removing your uterus and ovary. And seeing as you already have a child, kind of makes sense. Also, again, just for Panda, we got a 1% double deal. Ovaries can be left behind, put off menopause. That is fair. So androgyny is the goal, or the partial goal, as well as not being able to have any more children, which is... But essentially, from my understanding, more of what you're looking for is the ability to be male when you want to be male, and... Which is fine. I accept that. That is a bad thing. And improving your physical and mental, of course, yeah. Also, slight amount of confusion on my end. You said you're bringing your partner with you. I'm assuming the partner you are referring to is not Liv. Is Liv female as far as does that mean that you are in the polyamorous relationship? If that is the case, that is also very understandable for you. I just did not know that. I assumed that whenever you referred to partner, you... Lily. And JX. Okay. So a polyamorous relation. Lily is wife or spouse, JX is partner. Okay.
Spent it. It's gone. Just get over it.
Alright, I'm going to be talking over this rather than installing the mod, mostly because the mod is extremely aggravating and annoying. I do not like listening to Dr. Eggman scream about trying to piss on the moon. Literally. Harder. I know me and Lilith don't have attracted to women that way. I'm even helping. Okay, so that is even more confusing to me. As someone who is very much monogamous and very much straight. So you and Lily, or Lilith, are married. I'm assuming legally. And that legal marriage came from before, after, during... And again, if I'm ever asking anything that is not kosher, just tell me. I will shut up about it. I'm on the Arrow Ace spectrum. Yes, we are married. We got married before she was trans. Okay. And when she started transitioning or became whichever way is more politically correct and more socially correct. W's in chat. Aight. So then I'm assuming before Lily started transitioning, your relationship was different? Or was it relatively the same? And that's wholesome, and that is a perfectly fine way to do it. If that is how you want to have it, then have it that way.
Self-destructive and
So,
disturbed, just like his father. Look at who he has to look up to. You're drunk again, aren't you? Shut up, man.
so in doing that,
Just keep pushing.
you decided that each of you were going to have
We'll be fine without
partners
you.
as well,
Abandon us
for
and
obvious
abandon
reasons.
yourself.
Kind of how partnerships work. Oh my god. Oh my god. Annoying little shit. Stealing all my red hearts. I need... Unfortunately, I can't remember that far back because we... I'm sorry. I do hope that you can not necessarily remember those things, but come to terms with those things, because those are very useful pieces of information about your life. Maybe not. You know that you were living with a bad family. Happy? More to the point of what I'm getting at, I think it would be a very good thing just to have the knowledge. You know, what happened in your life prior is one of the things that I always try and talk about. Because I have some similar issues. I have a very hard time remembering certain parts of my life due to similar experiences. But one of the biggest things that I personally have been doing in therapy is memory recovery. Because I need to understand some of the quirks and some of the things that I do and why I do them, simply because of built programming for so long. Integration means sharing memory. That's good. Just lost the HP I went in there to get. Hey, teleport. Wait, don't I have... Yeah, I have book bag. I can just do this. Teleport myself to a random room. Too bad it's not Teleport 2.0. Then I could go to the I Am Error and cause some real funky shit to happen. So then, my biggest question with that, and I feel like consciousness is also consciousness and sentience is probably a very weird and slightly more interesting philosophical question specifically. I feel like it would be a very, very intriguing question for you specifically.
You need to confess your sins and become saved. Let his light inside you cleanse.
Please be
your
quiet,
soul.
mother.
Insane. You are taking this too far. Did you hear how you sound?
So, like, what sentience means and what consciousness means.
Come, pray with us, Isaac.
Like, even just the concept of consciousness. Because you know that you're conscious, and you know that all of your alters are conscious and sentient. But because it's all in one skull, it means something very different to you than it to me, because I am a single person, whereas you are multiple. And each of those entities has their own consciousness and their own way of thinking, their personality, their own psyche, their own wavelengths, everything. And I'm just saying that it's an extremely interesting, like, concept for a human and for someone who is of that nature to have to try and, because you know that all of you are sentient, but you also know that only the one driving at that moment is also considered sentient in terms of physiology and psychology. Which again adds its interesting twists how people perceive and view sentience, because, you know, by technical standards, the person driving, or intelligence driving your body, would be the thing that is sentient, or considered sentient at the moment by philosophy. But then you still share memories, ideas, thoughts, feelings with everyone else. Head. So therefore it means that the person driving is not the only one sentient in your skull. So it ends up being this very weird roundabout circular argument of of all of you are sentient and none of you are sentient at the same time. Just if we go by like the philosophical debate. Which, I mean, philosophy is philosophy, and it's... But I think it's a really interesting thought process. Also, let me know if I'm talking too quietly. I just find when I'm talking about, like, more serious topics, I find it better to adopt this voice rather than a more excited, more over-the-top voice that I usually have when I am talking my own topics. Also, a fun fact: this is my narration voice most of the time. You bitch.
Where are you going? Wait!
So yes, that is my question. Is like, how does that work in your? How does consciousness actually work in your? I find that extremely intriguing. And forgive me for saying.
Please don't leave us!
Gosh, I have not thought about that. Or I'm Valkyrie or Val. This isn't always gonna be true for all. We have access to our inner world, so that's where the alters go when caught in. They still exist and do things. and like to make comments, etc. Okay, but here's the thing, because you are both, when you're in that inner, each altar is its own separate inner. I don't know if you visualize and see, but in that inner world, each of you is your own. Correct? So then you fall under the same problem that all humans, where I, the sentient monkey, am sitting there staring at another human and human. So when you are in your own internal world and you're sitting there staring at another altar, you're having the same problem. You're sitting there staring at another altar, just assuming sentient. Because they are also you, they share the same neural pathways that you do. They are still your brain, technically. Physiological standards. Also know that they're sentient, because they are in some way, shape, or form using the same hardware you're using. And you know that they're using it, or because they share it. So you end up with this weird diametric thought process of, just subconsciously you end up with this diametric thought process of, I don't know if they're sentient, but I also know that they're. I feel like I'm gonna hurt somebody's brain with. Little too late on hurting someone's brain, lol. It's all good. Oh, I'm sorry, Isaac. Has this conversation been, a little too philosophical and a little too over-the-top thought-provoking? It's one of those things that I find really funny, and I'm not saying that to be, like, mean or rude when I say a little too thought-provoking, because there's definitely some topics that hurt my brain. And I would consider way too thought-provoking. I'm an android, in case you. So here's the thing, and Moon, I'm not discounting how you feel or what you are. You personally, your personal biases and the way that you think, tell you that you're an android, correct? When I'm talking about like who you are, I'm both talking about like the psychology. But I'm also talking about the physiology. I'm talking about the actual, like, physical gray goo that's in between your ears. And this is something that I always have to argue with people. And people don't seem to understand. So, I do not care what somebody wants to identify. Genuinely, I do. Want to identify as male, identify. Female, identify. You want to identify as an android, identify. I have no. The only problem I have is if I begin talking about, biology and they produce what caused thing to be. There is still some level of reality where you, Valkyrie, say that you are an android, and I respect it. True. Wolves, cats, dragons, robots, etc. Yeah, and that's and again, as a system, that's how your psyche works. And that is good because it helps you draw lines and narratives between. Which is also extremely important. More trinket room. How fucking useful. But yes, down to it, we all inhabit the same human meat. Thank you. Because there are so many people that I have talked to that do not like that. We are all one biological computer out, like, driving a meat mech. And no one can tell me otherwise, because that is just how our body. Also, excuse me while I try and defeat. Ouch. Ouch. Ow. And that's interesting. I think we might have a chance due to Explosivo. Explosivo is fucking carrying the damage. Oh, you rat bastard. Ouch. Hallelujah. Guys, we're almost done. We're almost done. All of my little followers are down in the bottom. Also, I apologize. I will read as soon as I can. Oh, so you're a system 2? Fulham? Maybe a different type of system. That's interesting. Are you a system, or is it just like... Because forgive me for saying it like this, I was under the impression that DID systems are a relatively rare thing. So you have one altar that does all the fronting, and the rest are more the communication hub. A council of elders, if you will. An OSDD system? I genuinely have no idea what those words mean, what those letters in that order mean. Oh my god, look at my leeches just absolutely fucking losing their shit down there. An other specific dissociative disorder. Ow, ow, ow. That totally screwed up all of the, Man, death always fucks me up with those. Okay. So altars can't front, they can only influence. Which is both an extremely intriguing concept to me, and a slightly different one. Woo! I will continue reading in just a second, guys. I apologize, I'm just trying to focus on this at the moment. I promise I will read, though, because this is extremely interesting to me.
Then suddenly, the sky above cracked open, and a white beam of light reached down into the earth, smiting the
C-section. You're in the basement. Okay. Another form of plurality, but say altars can't front just in, or there's no amnesia barriers, but the altars aren't much different. Yeah, kinda. I will shift with extreme emotions, such as arguments or death of someone close or someone hurts a love. That's usually one other, and he's not nice at all. Is why he doesn't take to, because it's not how we want. And that's understandable. That's extremely intriguing. See, and I find that super intriguing because that almost seems like more of like a personality shift. Because like I have personality shifts due to my own mental psyche. And Moonglow got to learn a little bit about this with talking about how I have certain emotions that are intrinsically linked. So guys, we are done, except for Mother on Lilith. I will. Before I start this new run, I desperately need to go to the washroom. So I'm going to go and do that, and then we can talk a little bit more about psychology, or we can talk about space, whichever one you prefer. Took having a deep talk to beat Beast, yeah. So. Clips in my head, yay, I can fight people with children now if I get far enough. Also, on a completely different topic. Well, not a completely different topic. Sorry, 1 second. Helping my mother with scuff. I know, I've been putting off unlocking Greedier like a frickin' lazy bastard. But I think Greedier is gonna be one of those things where I just, like, I sit down, I grind it out, and then once Greedier is unlocked, we just do, like, a full go-through of every single Greedier with every single character. Except I still gotta unlock. Oh, fuck, you're right. I still gotta unlock. Whoa. That was satisfying. I still gotta unlock the Keeper, too, which is not something I want to do. I really dislike the Keeper. The Keeper might be the one other character that I cheat on if I'm complete. I dislike that character. Passion. And the Lost, of course. I need to unlock the Holy Map. I know that he makes Devil Deals pay to win instead of... I couldn't remember if the stars was... So, one of the things that I was going to talk about before we got on the whole topic of philosophy and psychology is essentially the idea of colonization and like traveling through space. Because one of the things that happens, and I found really, really intriguing in this series that I'm reading, is the idea that rather than using faster than light travel, everyone's traveling with normal, just like acceleration essentially. You sit there with a fusion engine and you just keep on the acceleration button the entire time. Eventually, that acceleration will lead you to, you know, 1%, 2%, 3% the speed of light. You will get to that speed eventually. Wow, that's a good first boss item. Holy shit. And you'll travel really fucking, essentially. Anyway, in doing that, if you are using the way to keep everyone alive is cryosleep, someone's going to need to wake up every once in a while. Right? To deal with things that malfunction. Computers are imperfect and they will eventually malfunction, or you'll have random glitches in code, or. Anyway, the whole story that I've been listening to has been essentially about that. There's one guy that lives throughout, like, I can't remember, it's like 2,000-ish years while this ship is traveling. And he starts the travel as the oldest man left. He's like 40-something, and he is the oldest man in existence at that point. And the joke is he's always going to be the oldest because he starts out at 40, whereas everyone else on the ship kind of starts out at like 25 to 30 to younger even, because they're planning on colonizing a planet. You need young bodies to do that. Anyway, but throughout the story, his kind of love interest, which is very tertiary to the story, I think you only ever really see them in a situation where they would be considered love interests like twice. his kind of love interest is the ship's engineer, and she needs to constantly be like waking up and fixing things. So like she starts out calling him old man, and that nickname continues throughout the entire thing, but the entire time she's getting older than him because she's out of cryo sleep than he is, and she first catches up to him in age and then starts passing him in age, to the point that the last time that he wakes up before they get to the new planet, she's like much older than him. She's like closer to like 60 or 70, and he's still about 40. And it's just like listening to his own thoughts and his own like thought process, and like how it's slowly like basically driving him crazy. Because everyone else around him is aging, and people that he used to think of as young kids or like young people without any experience suddenly have more experience than he does. And for him it's just in the blink of an eye, but for them it's ages, like decades and years, right, depending on how old they are. He lives through like 4 or 5 generations of children trying to maintain this Ark ship and keep it running. And like he and like some of the key crew, as they're called, almost become like deities to these ship-born children who have known nothing but fixing the Gilgamesh ship. And it's just, oh my god, it's so fascinating. It's such an interesting take on humanity and like everything, and like what we consider time and relativity, and it's wildly interesting. I highly recommend the series. It's such a cool experiment and thought experiment of like how well would people adapt to that? How well would one person adapt to that mentality of I am both ancient and know nothing all at the same time? Because he is, for all intents and purposes, this guy is ancient. He's close to, like, chronologically, his body is like thousands of years old, right? By an actual time scale, but he keeps stepping in and out of time because he can just get frozen, essentially. Yeah, it's a really fascinating concept and a really fascinating idea. Oh, that's right. My bad. I forgot I was supposed to be taking the alternate. I will just give myself the knife piece. Because I am a doofus. My B. I'm dumbass. I got talking about a book. Yes, I found it very, very, very interesting. It's a very interesting series of books. And that's just the first book. And each book is kind of both in the same universe, but also a standalone story, which makes it interesting. And, like, it jumps ages and times so much. And I mean, like, that, like, quite literally. Like, the next book is, like, hundreds upon hundreds of years later in the series. Yeah, anyone who likes science fiction, I think, should definitely read it. It's a very, very good series of books. A very intriguing series of books. And in some ways, it's also a very dark series of books. It's a very dark look at humanity and how humans function. I need to find a ball. Excuse me. Yes, I do find it an extremely intriguing series. I also find a lot of that sort of thing intriguing in and of itself. Just the idea of like how mortal humans actually are, but also how immortal they can. Right? This guy's a historian, and suddenly he is also the history. It's really intriguing. Highly, 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 highly recommend. Down we go. I also need more water. Agua. Agua del pozo. Yum. Also, do I have any degenerates in chat that think water tastes bad? Frickin' goofballs. Kill it. Kill it with fire. Kill it immediately. Good lord, get rid of it. There are some people that just don't like the taste of water, and I think that they are crazy. I do not understand it, but they exist. Ow! So when is that argument happening, Moon? You said it was sometime today. I hope that I am not interrupting or unpreparing you or feel like you need to be here. I hope that you are just looking and 1 p.m. Well, you best be getting ready, and I hope that you are prepared in every way, shape, and form. Psychologically. Ooh. I've been preparing for weeks. Good. I'm glad to hear it. You only notice the taste if it's from the tap. See, and that's the funny part. I've drank well water and tap water my entire life. I just got absolutely... I've drank tap water and well water my entire life. So my partner has a very interesting way of describing the water that we have out at the farm. She says that our water is thick. And I do not understand that. Our water is water. Water has the same consistency unless it is, you know, filled with something else. But according to her, our water is thick. Which, I mean, it is heavier in metal. Like, it is heavier in, like, calcium and trace element. Well, it's not filtered source. But yeah, if that book sounds interesting to you at all, I highly recommend listening to it, actually. The book is on Audible, and I'm sure it's elsewhere too. But the woman who does the narration for it does an absolutely amazing. I fucking love it. She does such a good job. But yeah, if you like extremely thought-provoking books, Drinking from a Hose is way better, dude. That's an old person thing now. That's like an old person memory, and I hate that it's an PBF. Like, I remember Drinking from the Hose 110%, but the amount of times that I've like said that to like people that I work with, and they're like, why the fuck would you drink from a hose? And I'm just like, oh, I'm only 28, brother. Dude, same. No, it's not about Spiral Wars. It's about a book called The Children of Time. By Adrian Tchaikovsky. And they have an extremely interesting book on, like, essentially time. Like, how time would pass for somebody who's stuck in cryosleep and only gets thawed out occasionally. Whereas someone who needs to be waking up constantly try and fix the ship that they're flying in. About building that immune system young, for sure. Haha, he can call us all old Isaac. Well, dude, I don't think you realize I'm older than everyone else in chat, except I think Moon. I think Moon and me are about the same age. Would you kindly fucking stop, by the way? Spawning the little fucking shits. Yeah, because I know that I'm older than you. Cole. I know that I'm older than you. You just said you're 28, and I'm older than that, brother. Not by much, but I am older than that. I'm going to be 32 in December. Yeah. So you are older than me, but not by much. You're older than me by like 2 years. Because I'm turning 30 this year, pretty quickly, actually. Sorry, what? That's okay, I just found out not too long ago that the Romeo and Juliet law changed and it's stupid. What the fuck is the Romeo and Juliet law? Guys, you gotta remember, you're American, I am Canadian. I have no idea what the fuck the Romeo and Juliet law is. But if I know anything about Shakespeare and they made a law about Romeo and Juliet, specifically called the Romeo and Juliet law, it's gonna be a fucked up law. In one way, shape, or form. It might be a good law or a bad law, but I know it will be fucked up in some way, shape, or form. It's referencing Romeo. I know a lot about Shakespeare, and I know a lot about that book specifically, and it's all fucked up. Also, I don't know why I've adopted my narration voice. So here in Colorado, it to be if you were dating before anyone turns 18, it's okay. But now it's if you're 17 and want to date someone up to 7 years older than you, it's okay with a 17-year-old. That is stupid. That's just... I have so many issues with things like this. Because I understand people going age is just a number, but it's not. Really not. The older you get, the more age just becomes a number, true. $17 dating a 24-year-old right now. Yeah, and that's just... So here in Canada, that's called statutory rape. If someone is not of legal voting age, they are considered a minor. And the person that is 24 gets charged with statutory rape and gets jail time. Period. Where I live. Does not matter if it is consensual. They go to jail. Like, I understand wanting to date someone maybe a little bit more mature, but if he's 24, he's not mature. Hell, if he's 26, he's still not mature. Male brain doesn't actually properly mature until about the age of 30. Both emotionally and psychologically. And physically. And that's a fact. That's actually something that we know. Like, that's not like a, oh, haha, like, that's just saying that guys mature slower or they don't mature, you know, I don't know. Like, genuinely. Male brains emotionally mature at a much slower rate. Like, they don't mature until, like, we're 30. Which is annoying as shit, but also very true. And to be fair, female brains don't fully emotionally mature until they're like 25, so... Yeah, that's a little disturbing. I'm sorry. Cool. That sounds like it is not fun. Yeah, it was meant, so like if a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old, and when the 17-year-old turned 18, it was affected because they were together prior to the 17-year-old turning 18, but now it okays pads to get away with it till they turn 25. Yeah, like, that's just creepy and, like, weird. And I don't like that. See, and, like, the funniest part is, like, we don't have a law about that here. We don't have a Romeo and Juliet law where it's like, okay, if you guys were dating before either of you turn of legal age and then one of you turns of legal age, you know, then it's fine. We just call that fucking common sense where I live. Now, to be fair, like, that could theoretically be used as, like, manipulation of the facts. Say, like, the parents of the girl or the guy really did not like the partner. As soon as they turned 18, they could just, like, claim statutory rape and just get the person convicted. That's just how it works. But the fun part is where I live, the people that are trying to convict you don't actually get to convict you. The government needs to convict you. So if the government, if the judge looks at your case and goes, so here I'm seeing that you guys have been together for like 4 years and one of you just turned 18. And the people who are trying to protect the younger person are saying that this 18-year-old, right, is harming the 17-year-old. But I see no evidence of that, and both people that are both people that are in the relationship are saying that nothing is wrong, then I'm not going to convict you. Because it's common sense. You two have been together for 4 years. Evidently, there are no problems prior to now, right? And a lot of the times, the parents, if they try and do that, because there have been cases like that in Canada, oftentimes the court will actually convict the parents of, like, tampering. Because they're trying to use the court to settle some fucking family drama. But yeah, like, where I live, it's just called common sense. Yes. And that's understandable. I understand wanting to create, like, safeguards against helicopter parents. And we have the same thing here. Like, we have similar stuff to that here. The thing is, though, where I live, it's still, like, considered, like, common sense because it's not the parents. So, where I live in Canada, you can't, like in Canada, you can't technically sue somebody. You can't just say, I'm going to sue you for everything you're worth. You need to put forth a claim to the courts, and then the courts get to decide whether you have any legal right. Whether you have any legal right to even make that claim. And if they think that you have a legal right to make that claim, then the court goes forward to try and get you your money. But you do not get to have a say in who you actually get to, like, take to court. Hello, Valkyrie. How are you doing? See, and here's the thing that I find really funny. So a 7-year age gap when you're younger is a huge deal, correct? Like we're saying, like a 17-year-old dating a 24-year-old. Sleep deprivation for the win. Right? A 17-year-old dating a 24-year-old seems like that's a little creepy. But older, I get it. Yeah, and it's one of those things, right? Where as soon as emotional maturity leaves the picture, it becomes much less of a difficult decision. Becomes much less of a difficult thought process too, right? As soon as emotional maturity becomes a thing, you don't care as much, and that's okay. I was gonna say you have more of that mature mindset. See, and a lot of that mature mindset comes from trauma, believe it or not. It has nothing to do with me actually being mature. I am a fucking child 90% of the time. I can be mature when necessary, but I do not like being, because it is tempering. I can talk about mature topics because I am intelligent, and I can talk about interesting, and I can talk about things because I know how things work. But I would never really consider myself properly, like, a mature human being, simply because I'm also just a shithead. right? I can share that mindset for sure. I can have a mature mindset and, you know how to deal with things. I love how how your pinned question is all caps, no punctuation, and I say that sarcastically because it triggers me on an autistic level. Yep. You found the secret. I enjoy causing people distress. Click. Villain arc. Dude, I've been on my villain arc for the last 12 years. There's so many people in my life that are like, oh, you're such a good... Bitch, I am a psychopath. I am an absolute fucking nutcase. What are you talking about? The amount of people that have told me that, they're like, oh, you're such a good person. Man, I don't know how I managed to trick you, but... Well, time to kill ourselves. I gotta start over. Also, question, does anyone have any interest in a short little blacksmith stream? Get the fuck out of here. I don't know if Moon's still here. Cool. Because I might set that up. Because I need to go to work at 2 o'clock today, so it would only be very, very short. But it could be something kind of thing. Maybe it'll be me making a D20. We're just gonna blow this bastard up. Ouch. No, 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 no. You get to stay the fuck down, sir. Oh, lovely. Alright.
Where's my hug at? Where's my hug at?
I did not take the gamble. Yeah, I did. I'm gonna go and hug the whale, Valkyrie, but I'm actually gonna call it quits here so that I can run out to the shop and get set up to stream for a very short while doing my blacksmith. You guys can just see the craziness. So I'll run and grab Sammy and give him a hug. And then I will see you guys in probably... I'll see you around noon my time, so about 40 minutes. Thank you guys so much. A little bit. I'm gonna go and raid somebody while we wait, though. I realize I should do that. So, I'll see you in about 40.